Hey guys, it's Fallendice, and welcome to episode 29 of Fallendice Plays Better Than BuildCraft. And we have some changes. First off, let's do the new version way of doing this. We are now in 1.2.5. We have our working mob spawner going. I put some half slabs up at the top to prevent them from taking sun damage when they would jump out of the water. And it is actually working. And I think that really once we get some more of these going, that this could actually be very useful. Getting lots of items when they, in the kill version, and get experience in the experience version. So I like how it is, and I want to finish this, but I have been putting off some projects for a while. So we are going to embrace the 1.2.5 and move on to some projects we've had on the back burner for a little while. And what we're going to, if you notice, my Madoc actually looks a little bit different, and that's because as I updated my texture pack, I finally found one for Better Than Wolves that I liked. So, as usual, inside my description for my video, I'll have the links to all three of my texture packs, but we have the KOP Photorealism 128 pixel texture pack for my main one, which is the same as it was before. They have done some changes to some things as the 1.2.5 version versus the 1.2.3, which we were on before. I don't really mind them too bad, so unless there's something I've noticed I really don't like, I'll probably stick with what it is as opposed to going in and changing it. Let me turn my sound down. Wow, how did it get that high? Alright. Secondly, we're still using for our Better Than BuildCraft the Attendees HD texture edition. So that's going to give us all of our Better Than BuildCraft texture, our BuildCraft, I should say, texture packs. And then for our Better Than Wolves, John Smith. The John Smith texture pack, which I know a lot of people know about, did a Better Than Wolves um, texture pack add-on. So I added the Better Than Wolves part of his texture into here to complete this. Now his is only a 32 by 32 as opposed to the 128 which we have for the KOP and the attendees, but it will definitely work. So when I mention projects that we need to finish, this would be one of them right here. I need to turn the water back on again, but I haven't really been using this lately because most of the stuff I was doing didn't have a lot of Better Than BuildCraft type stuff to it. So one thing I have noticed, they changed the way the pistons look, and I like the old piston, so I might change that one back. I do like that one. But yeah, so we have this project here, and then we have our downstairs, and that is the one I think I'm going to work on today. That's going to be our first thing, is to complete. Well, I can't really say complete, but to finish downstairs the look of the textures, or the look of the storage room. So we'll head down there a little bit. You can see our rope is a little bit different, and of course now we have better looking pillars. I like how those look and stuff. So, like I said, our first thing today is we're going to finish the floor in here and put in our siding on the walls. I'm gonna do this off camera. There's really no reason for you to watch me dig up the floor, put in some wood. Walls already dug out, but we'll go ahead and we'll dig that out first. I'll add in all my my new wood, and then we'll come back in, take a peek, see how everything looks like this. All right, so we have gotten the first part of our projects for today completed, and actually I think this looks pretty cool. They definitely did change some of the wood textures, so I had to kind of change my original plan. And I don't know, I still may consider going in and maybe changing some of these textures, but the birch definitely looks like flooring. I mean, that to me is what it looks like. It just doesn't seem like it would fit in well as anything but flooring. And that definitely looked like it was more of a wall, kind of an antique look to it. And we got everything else filled in. Here's how we got this kind of flowing down into our areas over here. So yeah, so I think this looks good down here. Our next project now is going to be our cow breeder slash harvester. So before we get to that, because I still haven't quite decided how I want to design the walls yet, but I have figured out how I want to take care of the wheat. Because it's been a while since we talked about this project here. But if we have, I believe it's what, 8 cows per row, so a total of 32 cows, or should I say, yeah, so 32 cows, and we're breeding every 5 minutes. So you say wheat takes about 40 minutes to pretty much guarantee full harvest using like Better Than Wolves and the potter or the planters. So we're talking about 40 minutes. So with 5 minutes of breeding, it's 8 breeding cycles. So it was like 256 wheat in a breeding cycle, which is quite a bit of wheat to have to grow and harvest um, to cover that. So like I've seen like the way Bathasay did it. He had like this monstrosity, epic, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I mean, it's freaking cool, but it's really really tall, really really complicated, and I can only imagine how much of a hassle that thing was to build. And I didn't want to go that way. A while back, I'd come up with an idea to do this, but it was still using water to push it, and that was before I really kind of fully understood the way some of the BuildCraft stuff works and things. So I've redesigned that, and I've designed something that I think is going to work rather well. I gotta wait and put in all the numbers to see if one floor is enough to keep up with demand, or if I'm gonna have to do 2 floors. 2 floors would be the most I'd have to do, and it would guaranteed be enough and a lot extra. I think if it doesn't, it's going to be really close. So with that, let's head over to my my creative world, and I'll show you what I've been working on. All right, so here is the original version I came up with. And like I said, this was before I really fully understood things, and it was a decent idea. But we got our block dispensers facing into each one of our our planters. Limitation being that it can only be 8 long, because with the water stream having to push them all the way over. So it gave us a total of 16 rows that we could actually do, by 2. So 32, I guess, which isn't too bad. And of course, the water coming down into here, and then it moved over to this point. I was using hoppers and putting in some different filters to try and separate the seeds from the wheat. And again, this is before I really understood how the BuildCraft piping system works, diamond pipes, obsidian pipes, and all that kind of stuff. The other issue being that I had to actually have 2 different switches. This was not a fully automatic at all. Had a timer probably could have fixed this, but even then I still had to worry about leaving the water running long enough to push all the wheat over the edge before it shut off, because if that didn't happen, I would end up with wheat just trapped on the planters, and it would get replanted, but I would lose some of my harvest. So all in all, like I said, it was a decent idea, but I like to think that I've learned a lot more about these mods and how BuildCraft works since then, and I definitely feel like I've come up with a much better idea now. So let's head over to my my flat test world and let's take a look at what I came up with. Alright, and here is the new and improved. So how I designed this is that we put the block dispensers upside down. That way they won't get interfered with by our pistons. And I had to kind of use the blocks in front of them because I kept accidentally powering the pistons when I was trying to power the block dispensers, and it was just easier to put that extra spacing in. Then also with the ceiling here, we put in our glowstone to make sure we have enough light for them to constantly grow. So, so how we got this going. So here's our single button. This one button here, with one push and the exact amount of time that a button push gives, is going to activate the entire system. So the first thing it's going to do is going to be to power our pistons. So it's going to power these. These two repeaters here have a 1 tick delay, so that, or I'm sorry, the repeaters over there have a 1 tick delay. That way all the pistons activate at the same time. The ones further down will have like a 1 tick delay once I have to put a repeater in, but that's not too big of a deal. At this point, we've got the repeater going into this block, sending up our redstone signal vertically over to here, and then each direction is going over there. I've got 3 full ticks on these, and the reason why I'm doing that is I want to make sure that we don't power our block dispensers until after our pistons have retracted, otherwise we won't be able to plant our wheat. One thing I found out that was cool about wheat: normally when you dispense something with your block dispenser, once you remove power, it will suck the item back inside. That is not the case with seeds. When you plant the seeds into the ground, it changes into something else, and apparently it cannot suck a seed or a plant out of the ground. So you do not have to keep it powered. So I don't have to do like some of my other projects where I have to unpower it for a second and then repower it and keep it held. It just needs that one little pulse tick, and it will plant everything. And then of course, obsidian blocks, as soon as it lands in there, it's going to go down. Directional pipes making everything come this way, and so at the moment I didn't really feel like putting in chests, but it'll just drop them on the ground here and here. So I'll hit this button real fast, but like I said, we hit the button, it'll extend the pistons, retract them, and plant all in one simple button push. There we go, and there we go. And now the only thing I need to do is to set up a 40-minute timer, because I don't want to have to push a button. So once we get this going, when we activate the breeder facility, it will also activate our wheat farms. So every 40 minutes, it will harvest all of our wheat. The pipe in here will take it straight over to our dispensers that we have hooked up at the breeder farm. So we don't even have to worry about moving stuff from chests and everything. It'll just go from here right into our block dispensers, where it'll be dispensed into the water system to head down and allow the cows to breed. So it'll all be one interworking system. Alright, so we decided to go with simplicity again. And I don't know if you can get much simpler than this. So here's how the timing works. We got the turntable under here at the slowest setting, and it's spinning around, moving our new fancy sandstone block with hieroglyphics on it. It takes 16 seconds to make it all the way around, which means spending 4 seconds on each block area. So since we have 16 seconds here, going 15 times at 16 seconds will put us at 240 seconds, or 4 minutes. So it takes 4 minutes before we finally are going to get our solid block, which will then transmit power over to here. So if we're going for 40, then we needed to do it 10 times. So we then have 9 half slabs with 1 full slab. So basically, it will take 40 minutes starting from scratch with the first half slab inside there. 40 minutes before it will send power out here. Alright, so first things first is we have to decide what we're going to do our ceiling with. And trying to go along with the feel of everything, so, and the colors too. So I thought first, trying that birch wood that we used for the floor of the storage area. I didn't really like how it looked. It looked good on the storage floor, but not good for the ceiling. Then I went with the regular good old-fashioned wood planks, which actually I think are going to work well. I think the color, the contrast will fit with the sandstone. Plus the big thing is that it stays with the theme of most of my buildings here, and that is the wooden theme. Alright, I like how this looks. I think the color fits well, and I imagine it would probably do well on pretty much any texture pack. I just think it works well with the sandstone. Looks good, so I think we'll go ahead. We'll head on up to the top to kind of see how it looks, and then we can start spacing. I'll have to go grab my materials first, but we can start spacing. So the project is a little more expensive than I was initially thinking. You know, you think of pistons, this, that, and the other, and all that stuff, and normal projects is alright. But then I realized I'm trying to do 256 wheat at a time. In a normal wheat farm, that's not a huge issue. And actually, let me turn this down here. Hold on. In a normal wheat farm, that's really not that big of an issue. But when you're trying to put a block dispenser on each one of those, we're talking 256 block dispensers, which technically means 512 solars. Wow. Yeah, that's a little more expensive than I was thinking. Um, and I could just stop and just say, you know what, not going to work, or maybe do half of it. Problem is, half won't work. If I want to have this functioning, to leave it running, I have to be able to keep up with the demand. Luckily, you know, when I was designing this, I was running a lot of clay, and I have a lot of urns built up. In fact, let me see how many we actually have built up. Yeah, so we got quite a few built up, and I had quite a few left from my previous setup too. So I mean, I have enough to make it. 'Cause, I mean, there's 256. I mean, right there. Here's my 512 right there. And as you can see, we're in the full-blown solar mode now. So I just filled up my mills over there with netherrack, 3 stacks apiece. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Just forewarning though, this is expensive, so before you decide to try and use the design I have on here, or at least to the scale that I'm doing this, make sure you have the resources ready, because this is a bit more expensive, and I still have to go back down and collect more of the mossy cobblestone. But luckily I've got a few different spawners that I have where I'm constantly farming my cobblestone, so I can go back and hit up all those, and I should be good to go on that, even though I think I still need 512. So I need 8 stacks of mossy cobblestone for this as well. Man, it was so much easier before they updated these recipes. So for you, this isn't going to take very long. I'll be right back and continue moving out with this project. For me, I have some work to do. So we'll head up here and take a peek. And it's pretty similar to where it was before. So we got the vertical wiring right under here. So we got it powering all 3 directions. And like I said, the timer on this now, or I should say the delay, is I think almost perfect. So let's head over here. We'll go ahead and replace our dreaded piece of redstone. And then we'll watch how she behaves. Alright, so it should be coming up shortly. I think. There we go. Alright, so they're all extended. Wait for a sec. Now they're unextended. And there's our power. So that will work just fine. And even though it's lit for a little while, it really doesn't make a difference, because like I said, unpowering a block dispenser is not going to remove the wheat. The wheat will stay planted just like it was before. So this works. So now all we need to do for this level is put in our piping, and then over here we got the spot for it to go down, and it's basically going to come, like I said, the iron directional pipes will come all the way over to here, and then like right below here, right down there, and over on the other spot over here are our 2 block dispensers for our breeder, and when we just have those go straight into those, and we should be good. Alright, so word to the wise when you're building new fantastic cool designs is pay attention to basic rules. Notice the difference between this and not growing wheat, and these who grew full wheat. Give you a hint, there's nothing directly above them. So I'm sure most people already know this, and as I've never really done, a real technical automatic wheat farm, I never had a reason to find this out. But for wheat to grow, there has to be an air space above the wheat. As in, when it's fully grown, there's still an air space above. So this design does not work. And I pretty much had the thing basically about done before I realized that none of them were growing. So we are now back to the drawing board. As nice of a design and as cool as this was, it doesn't work. So we need to come up with a new design, and this is kind of where I'm leaning towards. So we got multiple tiers, and these will all be walled in on either side, but the basic gist is you got your platform here, block dispensers lining both sides of it. We have water over here, which will be concealed. Figures. Where's my switches? Okay. Which will be held in place by these pistons. And one of the benefits about this is it doesn't take quite as many resources, although because we're still using block dispensers, there's still going to be quite a bit of soul urns being used, as well as our mossy cobble. But as we're saying, so these will be lining here, here, here. I don't know how many levels we'll go. We'll see how much space, how much this takes up for a full thing. Because what we want to do is, and probably we'll end up going up one higher on here, just so that we get, this will be the first block that the water drops in on. So we can go 7 blocks, and it'll drop down to this level. 7 blocks, drop down to this level, 7 blocks down there. So with that one single water source, we'll be able to harvest all of our wheat, and then at the very end of the last one, we'll have our piping at the bottom to catch it. Alright, so here's our work in progress. And I probably will end up keeping the glass just because, well, actually, I won't be keeping the glass as far as that because I can't see anything. Unless they make it so we can actually put redstone on glass, which unfortunately we can't do. We can put it on glowstone, but not glass. So we'll have to look at it, I think, from the front. We'll still be able to see it from the front, which is the important part. So anyway, we're running the water. First off, we'll go ahead and turn the water off here. So if we put a switch on here, turns off the water. Turns off the torch. And as you can see, water drops down to there. Actually, I'll see it better from the other side. Alright, water comes over here, drops down over there, and it pushes all of our drops down here to the bottom. And again, I haven't done the timing circuits yet. This is just the basic how this is going to work. And as you can see, it takes a little bit for the water to make it all the way down. So once we get this all the way built, before we do our timing, we'll have to load it all up with seeds, plant them, and then get some power on there. The cool part about the fact that we can use glowstone for this, or we could put redstone on glowstone, is that I can replace some of our wooden planks here with glowstone, which is going to give us our light that we need for our wheat to grow. So that takes care of having to do lighting in here. We got our 2 blocks, so that means they can grow. We'll get lighting in there, which will also satisfy that. And then our next part, as you see here, we got our wiring for our block dispensers. So we got the planks going above each one of the block dispensers. The redstone comes here, hits that block, which 2 redstone torches basically will send that same signal across the next level, 2 redstone torches across the next level. So with this simple design, we can basically run one signal all the way across to all of our block dispensers. So that'll make this part easy. And there's not a super huge amount of delay. The big delay we were getting over here was with tons and tons of pistons and repeaters and everything like that. So this will go a lot faster. You know, we just got some torches on the ends of each one of these. But this design, I think, will work adequately. Alright, math homework done. Alright, so the stack as it is right now is going to give us 44. So we got 16 and 14 is 30 plus 14, 44. If we were to go 5 high, we would end up getting 72. Which means if we went with 4 of those at the 72 level, it would give us like some 280 or some. More than we need. We only need 256. Now, if I keep it at the level I have right now, which is 3 high, then I only need 6 of these, and that'll give me 264, which is an extra 8, but then again, if we end up having any issues, you know, that'll lessen the impact. So I'm okay with 264. So that means we need to create 6 of these at this exact height. So at least we know what the height's going to be. We also know the dimensions. And from the looks of this, I mean, it's only 4 wide. So I'm going to actually have quite a bit of room on the top of our thing. I think I could do 3 wide and then just 2 of these. And by going 3 wide and 2 rows, I can have the drop-off point down a central collection area on both of these, which will make it easier for us to funnel all of our drops into one central collection area. So my next step is I got to do some timing. I got to plant all the way at each one of these levels, and then turn the water on and time to see how long the water has to stay on for everything to get to the bottom, because that's the key point, and then figure out a way, timing-wise, without taking out a ginormous amount of space, to set it up so that this thing turns on and then turns off, and when this thing turns off, there's enough of a delay for all of the water to make it all the way down before these fire. So this will be a little more tricky on the timing than that one was. That one was really simple timing. This one is going to be a little more tricky, but I think when we're done, this is going to be pretty cool. So, alright, I will be back in a little bit. Alright, so here's the numbers I have so far. Planted the entire top row twice. Used the bone meal, turned it into actual full wheat, so the full top row, because we know the top row is going to take the longest. The bottom ones will be there obviously before the top row. So from the moment you break the power coming into here and the water's released, it is exactly 40, well I should say it's 41, close to 41, so I called it 42 to be safe. So 42 seconds for it to push the very last of the wheat all the way to the bottom. It also takes 12 seconds, actually closer to 11, so I, again, erring on the side of safety, 12 seconds for once you turn the water off for the last bit of water to come down here. So what that tells us then is we need to leave our water on for 30 seconds. So my timer for this is going to need to be a 30-second timer where we remove power to this for 30 seconds and then we restore power again. And then 12 seconds after that is when we need to send power over here. So now I just need to figure out how to route this, how to make the full timer, because I'm probably going to have to do, it's going to be interesting. Alright, well, I got work to do. Alright, so I think we got it pretty much figured out here. We'll come over here. We're going to use an RS NOR latch. So we have our 2 timers here. This is our 30-second timer reset. So over here is our initial timer coming in. This is our 40-minute timer power. So when our 40-minute timer, which was this bad boy over here, hits 40 minutes, powers the block, it's going to power here. And this is going to reset set our RS NOR latch. When this happens, 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, we're going to lose power to our block dispensers. And I checked over here just to be safe, and as long as there's water in front of it, and by the way, there's 48 in there. As long as there's water in front of it, no matter how many times we reset this, it's not going to try and plant it. So we're good there. Soon as we remove the water, it instantly plants it. So even though there's a nice long delay here, while the water is there pushing away the wheat, they're not going to try and replant. They won't replant unless they get power after being off and there's nothing in front of it. So when the RS NOR latch sets, we'll lose power here, so eventually all of our block dispensers are going to lose their power. At the same time, we also lose power to here, which means that this redstone torch is no longer, the block is no longer receiving power, so this redstone torch will once again light. First part of its path is to go over to here, and I can take off our lever here, but it's going to power this block, which will turn off this redstone torch all the way up to the top. So basically, once power comes in, we lose power up here, our pistons retract, and the water starts to flow. In addition, because we have power coming here, this redstone torch on our AND gate now has no power, which means that when this one has no power, we will light here and we'll get our first setting on this block dispenser. The reason for this block dispenser here is to shut off or reset our RS NOR latch and stop the water from flowing. So, like I said, this is an AND gate. So when the RS NOR latch has been set, because this is now turned off and this is turned on, there's no more power on this redstone, so this turns off. So when this turns off, it stops power in our gearbox here, which allows our turntable to start. The turntable's on the longest setting, so it is going to take, I believe, 8 seconds to make a full cycle. So once it'll start with the this block being dispensed, and it's going to wait for 8 seconds before 16 seconds. Sorry. So it's going to wait for 16 seconds before it does the next one. So we end up getting a 32-second clock. Plus, we end up with an extra few seconds because it takes a while for this to unpower and for this to start up. So basically, it's going to give us 32 seconds. At the time we get our after the 32 seconds comes in and it sets this for the second time, our full block comes out, completing our circuit here, which will then once again send power over here, resetting the RS NOR latch. I know it sounds complicated, and I'm to try and make it a little bit easier setup when I get down towards the actual area or the harvester. But at this, I was just kind of experimenting as I did this, so that's how it turned out. But yeah, when it resets it, then once again this will be powered, and that'll turn off our water first, and then we also have this nice long set of redstone repeaters, which takes about 12-13 seconds. Once that happens, then we'll repower all of our block dispensers, and we'll plant our wheat again. So basically, if I walk over here, and it should be kind of close, you can see over here I've got wheat on the bottom row, wheat on the top row, and both of these have wheat or seeds in the dispensers. So when I hit this switch here, or this button I should say, we should start the water coming down, and then about the time the water gets turned off and then finishes flowing, we should replant. Fingers crossed, haven't tried this yet, but that's what's supposed to happen. So there's our half block. And we'll kind of watch this slowly spins around. And I may have to put in another half block in there. There's our full block, reset the switch, water's turned off, and I do believe I do need another half. I do. Yep. But water's gone, and we've replanted. Okay, so that part is good. The timing as far as when this shuts off to when we replant is good. I just need one more half slab. Alright, so we are now set up over here. Have our 6 pads where we're going to be setting our farms up. Each one of these is the exact size, like the vertical wiring be coming up here. Water's going to be held right here. We'll get, they're 12 in length, and it's 8 at the bottom. So this is exactly the footprint that each one of these are going to take up. Over here, and looking quite a bit better, I would say, is our redstone, which we did over there. So how we're got it working here, the vertical, or I'm sorry, the vertical wiring, the mechanical power is coming from down below. It's the exact same water we'll use to power our harvesting and breeding facility down there. When it comes around, we power this. This block dispenser will have the 13 half slabs, 1 full slab. Powers into this one, which has 9 half slabs, 1 full slab. And this here is our 40-minute timer. At the point when it goes through the full 40 minutes, it'll power this, which will set our RS NOR latch. When it's set, this redstone turns off. So what happens here is the signal coming through here, which right now is on, is going down into a gearbox, which has got power or controlling this turntable. So when the NOR latch is set, this power is removed, that turntable starts to move again, and that's the turntable which is powering our our reset switch. And actually, I think I'm supposed to have another block dispenser in here. I do need to put another block dispenser in here, so I'll put that in there. But again, that was the when we get the, I think this was the 12-second timer. But when that happens, it flips this, turns this on, and that will reset our RS NOR latch. But also, in addition to turning on that, the power comes through here. This is our 12-second timer, which is going to turn the power on to our block dispensers 12 seconds after the pistons extend once again and turn the water off. That way we don't try to plant while there's still water running down. And the other part of this signal comes into here where it's inverted. It'll end up going into a block down here for vertical wire. So when this is turned off and this redstone torch lights, at the top it will lose power, and that's when our pistons will retract and let the water out. In addition, having this powered means this redstone torch will no longer be powered, and when this timer over here, and actually I think this was our 30-second timer, 30-second timer, when it finally gets to our 30 seconds and sends power in here, it will then, this will no longer be powered, which will allow this to be powered, and that will reset our RS NOR latch. Got it. If you need more explanation on that, let me know. I might go back maybe and try to re-explain it a little bit better. But for now, just understand the timing. And like I said, I do need to put one more block dispenser right here. This is our 30-second timer. So it has the 2 half slabs and 1 full slab before it powers this line here, which allows us to reset our latch. So, alright, I'm going to add that in, and then we're going to start constructing our first, I don't know what to call these things, node something. But yeah, I'll do our first one, then we'll rebuild each one of these. I don't think I'm going to use the builder on this part because they really actually weren't super complicated, and I think I can I'll probably be able to do this by hand. So yeah, let me take care of that, and I will be right back. Alright, and here we are. did some preliminary for all the future parts of this. A lot of work done here. So to get the power routed to all of our areas, first I marked off where the vertical wiring for where the vertical wiring for each one of these is going to be. So there, there, and there. And then in addition, we ran it all the way to the end here. And then it goes over to that one, and that one. Likewise, we routed the power for the dispenser blocks. So of course it goes into here first and there first. That's where the vertical wiring starts. And then run into the back. And then same over here, run into the back. And then over there, run into the back. So all the redstone wiring is done other than the individual wiring on each one of these modules. And to kind of make things fit, you know, the I don't really call it vertical wiring anymore, but we'll call it semi-vertical wiring. Coming up to here, powers both of these directions here, and then it comes down over to that one. I also will be building these to go all the way across in the middle. I won't go all the way to the edge because this allows me to get into this one, and this one. So I'm able to go through and load all of my dispenser blocks from one position. I just have to kind of keep moving along. But it seemed a lot easier than trying to get ladders or try to do it from the inside or anything like that. This will work really well for that. Ran all the wiring and everything, so this one is good to go. We'll go ahead and drop down here. I've already tested it once, and you can already see that we've got wheat growing here. The only thing I really have to do still is I'm going to have to go through and pick out a few of these on each level to turn into glowstone. I did forget to do that, so when it gets dark, they will stop growing right now. But they do grow. That is the important part after our last lesson learned. So, cool thing is we can test this. So all we do is we take a dirt block, complete our circuit, and then we'll go ahead and get rid of it. And now we can watch as the power goes away from our block dispensers, and then we'll head over here. Whoa, I got all kinds of stuff in my way now. See the water's flowing. So we'll head over here and watch our seeds come down. There shouldn't be any wheat because I don't think anything's grown. Those are the wheat from the top. The full row, the top was completely planted. So once again, we can verify that all of our drops will make it before the water stops. And then I filled up the first and the last one with some seeds, so we can verify that it'll plant all of our seeds. But there we go. Last of our seeds drop. Water's gone. And we plant and didn't plant down there. Was I out? Oh, I was out. Okay, well that explains it. I only put in a couple just for testing purposes. But this is now a fully functioning and working. So like I said, we currently we are now set over here for the full 40-minute timer. If I need to reset it, all I got to do is come in here, select the first brick and the first one. Now we are right now starting at 40 minutes right now. And everything else is good. All of our timing's good. Everything's good. So now all we really have to do is build the rest of our nodes. So I definitely will do that off camera. So I'm going to go ahead and finish building all these, and then I'll come back. We'll do a final view of a full harvest. We'll add in our obsidian pipe. There's going to be one here on each one of these, so it'll collect all of it, and then they'll combine it and run it over to our collection area. Maybe we'll do like the front half and then the back half to our two different dispensers. But we'll install that, let it plant, get everything fully grown, do a full harvest, and watch all the drops come in. And then we'll build our walls and the ceiling, finish completing our building, and then we'll call this an episode. Alright, we are done. So, I don't know if I've settled on this final design yet, but I think I like the kind of looking textures of the glass and the wood. You know, trying to kind of similar keep it to what I have over there. I didn't use any of the half slabs, but I just kind of went with the glass, and I think it'll work. and this will be my last big project in this area. All my future major projects I'm going to start doing further away, using the nether to make it a closer trip, but trying to keep all my stuff from being all centrally located and causing the issues of the lag that I've had. So we'll start off with a tour here. I got the cow factory going full force. Got some cows ready to come out. We'll head downstairs real quick and take a quick look at the facility again. I kind of did a little changing of the textures in here, because you see I have a different on the floor and the ceiling. Using the hieroglyphs, it had a different bottom, so I like the way it looked. And I also added the switches in here. So these are manual switches for each row of pistons. So if I'm trying to kill everything and just end it, as I'm done, breeding or whatnot, I can flip them all and have them all come down and be slaughtered. Or if I'm having issues where they start to bunch up and I'm trying to free up some space, because sometimes they don't want to always go down as well as I'd like them to, so I have that ability. Shut the door because it looks nicer with it shut. And we are already got some good amounts of leather starting to build up here. Lots of beef. And again, if I leave this running, it'll go for quite a while. And then, of course, we have got some glue cooked over here, tallow over there. So we've got our stewing pots fired and stoked, so we can go between the two. And as well, we got our quick transit for our items, so I can take and throw a couple logs in there, flip the switch, and off it heads down to my storage facility. And it should, but it didn't. Oh, I'll look at that later. And let's go ahead back upstairs, and we'll take a look at my wheat farm. And I'm now producing more wheat than I use, so eventually at some point I'm going to end up with a surplus. So I may have to consider putting some kind of gate or something on there that redirects the wheat once the block dispensers are full. So this part was already done. What I've added, as you can see, besides completing all these, so we've got the walkway, so I can basically access all 3 levels, which is very convenient. We got our piping going, so these 2 and this one feed the right block dispenser. They're all interconnected. And those 2 and that one over there feed the other one, so they all connect together. And you can see all my wheat is growing right now, doing rather well. This turned out really, really nice. I have used the architect table, so I've got a blueprint of these. So at some point here, I'm probably going to look into the Better Than BuildCraft forum, because I see where people have been posting some of their blueprints. So I'm probably going to have to start going through my world, making some more blueprints of some of the creations I've done, and then I may have to post some of these on the forum. I actually had someone link my Let's Play there on the forum, so I've actually started picking up some new subscribers thanks to that, so I appreciate that. And let's see, yeah, that's it for this episode here. Hopefully it's not super long. I'm going to try and condense it down with not too much of my rambling, which is kind of hard sometimes, but we'll see what we can do. Not sure what my next episode is going to be. I have a couple ideas floating in my head, but I'll probably end up doing is finishing up my mob farm with the builders, just so I can show that off, and then we'll move on to my next project. So, with that, please rate, comment, and subscribe as usual. Let me know how I'm doing. Leave me a comment, give me a like, and subscribe if you haven't already to be notified of all my upcoming episodes. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.